Linda by name, and fresh footprints lead straight to her door. So what's really hunting her in the fog? Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to dive into Linda and CEO Quang's tense night on the mountain, where love starts to feel safe, but danger gets closer than ever. If you enjoy the story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. The mountain is quiet, but not the peaceful kind. It's the kind of quiet that makes you feel watched. Inside Linda's small wooden house, one weak lamp flickers. Wind sneaks through the boards, and every creak sounds louder at night. Linda stands by the stove, stirring a thin pot of food, trying to act normal. But her eyes keep drifting to the door. Then, one slow step on the porch. Not a branch, not an animal, a human step. Linda freezes with a bowl in her hands. The water inside trembles. CEO Quang, sitting at the low table, looks up instantly. His face sharpens. No questions, no panic, just action. He grabs the flashlight and stands. Linda, whisper. Quang? Quang lifts one finger. Quiet. Another soft step outside. Then silence. He cracks the door open and sweeps the beam across the porch. Fog swallows the light. For a second, it's empty. Then the beam catches wet marks on the wood. Footprints. Fresh ones. And the worst part? They don't lead away. They stop too neatly, like whoever made them stepped backward into the dark. Quang steps onto the porch, shoulders squared. CEO Quang. Low. Who's there? No answer. Only wind. He doesn't chase into the black. He comes back in, shuts the door, locks it, and slams the wooden bolt into place like he's sealing the night out. Linda's breath is shallow. Linda, trying to steady herself. Maybe someone got lost. Quang turns, voice quiet but firm. CEO Quang, people don't get lost on your porch at midnight. Linda swallows. Her hands shake, and she hates that he can see it. Quang gently takes the bowl from her and sets it down. Then he pulls off his jacket and wraps it around her shoulders. Linda, I'm okay. CEO Quang, you're cold. Linda, small. I'm used to it. Quang pauses, like that sentence hits him deeper than the footprints. He sits close enough to block the draft, not close enough to crowd her. Outside, the fog presses against the window like a living thing. Cut to early morning, kitchen corner. Morning comes, but the cold stays. Linda makes ginger porridge, rice, ginger, salt. Simple, like everything she's learned to survive with. Quang checks the latch, then the window, then the bolt again. CEO Quang, today, we finish early. And you don't go anywhere alone. Linda, defensive. I'm not a child. Quang meets her eyes. CEO Quang. I know. That's why I'm saying it like this. Linda looks away, busying herself with the pot. Linda, eat before it gets cold. Quang tastes it and pauses. CEO Quang. Just ginger and rice? Linda. And salt. That's all I have. Quang watches her like she's offering him something rare. CEO Quang. That's all you need. Linda's spoon stops. She swallows hard. Linda, why do you say things like that? CEO Quang, because I don't want you thinking you're alone. Linda blinks quickly and turns away, pretending it's the smoke. Cut to late morning, mountain path. They carry baskets along a narrow trail. The drop beside them is unforgiving. Quang walks on the outer edge, always between Linda and the cliff. Linda notices. Linda, you don't have to guard me. CEO Quang, I'm not guarding you. Linda. Then what? He answers after a beat. CEO Quang, I'm choosing to be here. The words land too cleanly. Linda's chest tightens. Her foot slips on moss. She jerks, and Quang catches her wrist. Strong, warm, steady. For one breath, they're too close. Linda pulls back fast, embarrassed by how much she needed that hold. Linda. Sorry. CEO Quang, don't apologize for the mountain being cruel. Linda stares at his hand like it's dangerous. Linda, quiet. People like you don't stay. Quang's expression flickers. Hurt, then controlled. CEO Quang, don't decide that for me. Linda looks away. She isn't just afraid of danger, she's afraid of hope. Cut to afternoon. The call. Back at the house, it almost feels normal. Linda hangs herbs by the stove. Quang steps outside to find signal. Through the wall, she hears his voice. Tight, professional. CEO Quang. Yes, I understand. No, I didn't forget. Tonight? Fine, I'll come down. Linda freezes. I'll come down. Her stomach drops. Quang returns with a careful face like he's trying not to scare her. Linda. Who is that? CEO Quang work. Linda. You're leaving. CEO Quang, I have to go to the village for a few hours. That's all. Linda nods too quickly, too calm. Linda. A few hours. Right. Quang steps closer. CEO Quang, Linda, look at me. She doesn't. Linda. It's okay. I knew it. CEO Quang knew what? Linda's voice cracks. Linda. That you'd get tired of this, of me, of the mountain. Quang lowers his voice. Careful. CEO Quang. I'm not leaving because I want to. I'm leaving because someone is pushing me. Linda. Someone from your world. Quang exhales, because it's true. CEO Quang. Yes. And I hate that it can reach up here. Linda forces a smile that breaks at the edges. Linda. Then go. I won't be a problem. Quang takes both her hands. CEO Quang. You were never a problem. Linda yanks her hands back like she touched fire. Linda. Please don't say things you can't promise. Cut to evening. Linda's choice. Quang packs a small bag. Linda stays busy, cleaning, folding, avoiding his eyes. She folds his jacket neatly and sets it on the table. Linda. You forgot this. CEO Quang, I didn't forget. Linda. Take it anyway. The village is colder at night. Quang steps closer. CEO Quang. You're colder right now. Linda turns away. Linda. I'll be fine. Quang's voice turns firm. CEO Quang. Promise me you won't go out. Linda. Too fast. I promise. But her eyes don't match the word. Quang leaves, looking back once, then twice, until the fog swallows him. The door closes. Silence rushes in. Linda kneels by the bed and pulls out a hidden wooden box. Old cash, a small notebook, a paper with a buyer's name. Her emergency plan. Her, just in case. Linda, to herself. If he's going to disappear, I'll fix my life before I'm left with nothing. She grabs a basket and a weak flashlight and steps out into the mountain night, alone. Cut to night, mountain road. Fog thickens. Her breath turns white. The flashlight beam shakes. A voice cuts through the dark. Too casual. Stranger. Off screen. Hey. Linda, right? Linda stops so fast her body jolts. Linda, who are you? The stranger steps into the edge of the beam. Boots. Hands. His face stays hidden. Stranger. Relax. I just want to ask. That man's staying with you. CEO Quang. What's he doing up here? Linda backs away, heart hammering. Linda. I don't know you. Stranger. Soft chuckle. But I know you. And I know you're not supposed to have him. Linda's flashlight dips to the ground. Fresh footprints leading toward her house. Not hers. Not Quang's. Linda's eyes widen. Linda. Whisper. No. She spins and runs toward home as fast as her legs will carry her. Down in the village, CEO Quang stands under a weak streetlight, phone to his ear, listening to a voice that isn't asking. Voice, muffled. Warehouse. Now. Alone. CEO Quang. Don't go near the mountain. Voice. You don't give orders here. The call ends. Quang immediately dials Linda. Ring. Ring. No answer. He tries again. Still nothing. His eyes lift toward the dark mountain line. CEO Quang, under his breath. No. Not tonight. He swings onto his motorbike and heads uphill. Cut to Mountain Road, same night. Fog eats the headlight beam. Quang rides fast anyway, scanning every shadow. Up ahead, a flashlight bounces wildly. Linda's. He brakes, jumps off, and runs. CEO Quang, Linda. A man's voice answers instead. Too calm. Cut to Forest Edge. Linda stands with a stone clenched in her fist. Her flashlight shakes, but she keeps it aimed forward. The stranger blocks the path, face hidden in the fog. Stranger. Relax. I'm only asking about the rich man. Linda. Move. Stranger. What's CEO Quang doing up here with you? Linda. I don't know you. Stranger. A soft chuckle. But I know you, and I know you're not supposed to have him. Linda takes a step back, breath sharp. Linda. Leave me alone. A new voice cuts through the mist. CEO Quang, step away from her. Quang appears in the beam and places himself between them. He doesn't even look back. His body already says, she's not available to you. Stranger, recognizing him. So you're CEO Quang, playing hero. CEO Quang, and you're stalking a woman at night. Stranger, careful. Mountains have cliffs. People slip. Quang takes one slow step forward, calm and cold. CEO Quang. If she slips, you won't hide anywhere on this mountain. The stranger's smile fades. He glances at Linda once. Stranger. Lock your door better, Linda. Then he disappears into the fog. Linda's knees almost give out. Quang turns to her instantly. CEO Quang. Soft. Are you hurt? Linda shakes her head, eyes glossy. Linda. I heard you say you'd come down. I thought you were leaving. CEO Quang. Someone tried to pull me. I came back because I chose you. Linda's voice breaks. Linda. I promised I wouldn't go out. CEO Quang. You broke it because you were scared. Next time, you tell me. Linda. Small. I don't know how. CEO Quang. Then learn with me. Come on. Home. He takes her basket, then positions himself on the outside edge of the trail as they walk back. Cut to back at the house. Midnight. The house is dark. The lamp inside is out. Quang stops at the door. The wooden bolt sits slightly wrong, shifted, like someone touched it. He signals Linda behind him. CEO Quang. Low. Stay close. He opens the door slowly and sweeps the flashlight across the room. The table is wrong. Linda's notebook lies open. Pages flip to buyer names and prices. Linda. Whisper. I didn't leave it like that. Quang kneels by the bed and checks the hidden space underneath. The wooden box is still there, but it's been moved, searched, then placed back in a hurry. CEO Quang, someone was here. Linda's face drains. Linda. The stranger? Quang studies the latch and plucks a dark cloth fiber from the wood, slipping it into his pocket. CEO Quang. Maybe. Or someone sending him. Linda's voice shakes. Linda. This is my fault. If you weren't here... Quang turns sharply. CEO Quang. Stop. You are not the reason people do evil. Linda swallows hard, blinking fast. Linda, I'm tired. I'm tired of being brave alone. Quang's expression softens. He steps closer, lowering his voice. CEO Quang. Then don't be alone. Linda's defenses crack. She leans into him, forehead against his shoulder. Quang holds her, steady, quiet, like a wall. Linda. Whisper. Will you stay? Even if your world drags you back? CEO Quang. If I leave, it's to end the threat. Never to abandon you. Linda pulls back just enough to look at him. Linda. When you put your jacket on me, it felt like I could breathe. Quang brushes a loose strand of hair from her face, slow, asking permission with his eyes. Linda doesn't pull away. For one breath, the mountain is quiet again. Then, clack. A sharp sound on the porch. Both freeze. Quang moves first, flashlight up, body angled to shield her. He opens the door a few inches. A small bundle wrapped in banana leaves sits in the center of the porch, placed neatly, like a warning. Quang brings it inside and opens it carefully. A worn photograph slides out. Linda, younger, standing beside her ex-husband. Linda's breath leaves her. Linda. No. Nobody should have that. Quang flips it over. Rough ink is scrawled across the back. Your past will open the door for us. Quang's eyes flash. CEO Quang. Who is he, Linda? Linda's lips tremble. Linda. The kind of man who never lets go, even when you think you're free. Quang looks at her. Steady. Certain. CEO Quang, tomorrow we go down to the village. We find who's behind this. He covers her, shaking hands with his. CEO Quang. Low. And if they try to make me choose, I choose you. Out loud. Outside, fog presses against the window like a watching face. Quang slides the bolt into place. Hard. Linda stares at the photo like her past just walked back into the room. Quang checks the window once more, then the back wall. Listening. His voice stays calm, but his hand never leaves the flashlight. CEO Quang, tonight, you stay where I can see you. Linda nods, swallowing her fear. Linda, what if my past ruins everything? Quang answers immediately. CEO Quang, your past doesn't get to decide your future. Linda's eyes fill. She hugs his jacket tighter, like it's the only warm thing in the room. Linda, barely a whisper. Quang, please don't disappear. Quang steps closer and lowers his forehead toward hers, just for a second, enough to steady her. CEO Quang, I'm right here, and I'm not letting anyone take you. They stand in the dim light, the photo on the table like a threat that can't be ignored. Outside, very faint, a soft step drags across the porch. Not loud enough to prove anything, just loud enough to promise this isn't over.
Quang kể áp lực công ty, camera nháy sáng, bóng lạ thoáng qua, và không biết Linda có sống sót qua được đêm nay không.